But I want to show you today the story as we're in the Hall of Faith about three men. Three men that many of you probably have heard the story. Some of you maybe never heard of it. And I'm super excited. I'm more excited for those that have never heard the story because it's one of the most powerful stories that God has given us in His Word. And it's not just a story, it's reality. It's something that actually happened, and it's mind-blowing. It defies all of the laws of nature, and it really stirs the faith in the hearts of men and women of God. And I can't wait to be able to show it to you. It's a story of Shadarach, Meshach, and Abednego. And those three names right there just challenge the English tongue as it is. I'm giving you the English version of them. If I would give you the Aramaic or the Hebrew version of them, it would not sound good. It'd sound like I probably got COVID, right? That's probably a bad joke too soon. I'm sorry. That's just terrible joke. I just cannot speak it good. That's really what it comes down to. So I'm giving you probably a little bit of the ghetto version of my interpretation of their names. But these three men were Jews in the land of a foreign nation. It was the land of Babylon. They were in this underneath this king, and this king was just so against all other gods but his gods, and really his gods really became himself. But yet these men, along with Daniel, this is found in Daniel chapter 3, they found so much favor with God, but they also, like we talked about last week, but they also found favor with man. And they became promoted. They became some of the top officials in the entire kingdom of Babylon. And the Babylonian kingdom at that time, it was so vast and so big that it was covering most of the settled world at that time. And these men were super high up in the chain of command because they had found favor with God and favor with man. But one day, something starts to happen that would test their faith. One day, something begins to happen where they come to this king, all of his officials, and they say, we need to build you a statue. And they build him a statue, and it's a pretty big statue. If you read it in Daniel chapter 3, I'm not going to put it all there today, but it's about half the size of the Statue of Liberty. And you can say, well, that's a pretty big, but at least we got the Statue of Liberty. The difference is his statue was made of pure gold. So just picture a pure gold statue, half the size of the Statue of Liberty. And the word came out from the king, and he said this. He said, everyone, no matter what nation you come from, no matter what creed you are, no matter no matter what you are, you will, during this time of the day, when the musicians play their instruments, you will bow down and you will worship the statue. And all this is happening. I just want to show you something, because I want to show you today is how to stand strong in the face of adversity. We're facing a lot of adversity right now, and some of it I'm thankful for. Some of it I just can't wait for it to be over as far as this virus goes. But some of the other things we're looking at, it's time for a lot of things to change. It's time to shake things up a little bit and look at things a little bit different, and do more importantly, listen. Listen to what God is speaking. Listen to what others are saying. But all that said, this is a moment in time where they were about to be challenged. Could and would they be able to stand strong in the face of adversity? So this king, he just has everyone in the entire kingdom of Babylon just willing and ready to bow down. But all of a sudden, he gets some news. And his astrologers come to him, and they say this to him in verse 12 of Daniel chapter 3. But there are some Jews. They said, really, everything's going awesome. Everybody's buying in. Everybody's worshiping your statue. But there are some Jews, Shadarach, Meshach, and Abednego, whom you have put in charge of the province of Babylon. They pay no attention to you, your majesty. They refuse to serve gods, your gods, and they do not worship the gold statue that you have set up. Can you see the fire getting stoked already? These men are intentionally letting the king know in a way to make sure that he gets angry and wants to punish these men. Everyone was jealous of these men. Everyone in the land, because they were foreigners, they were not part of the Babylonian kingdom. They were from Israel, and yet they were so favored, and they were highly promoted and revered and respected, and now they finally got their chance. Maybe that's what you feel like in your workplace. You've worked so hard, you've found favor with God and man, and you got some people that are just stirring the pot. And they're just looking for a reason. They're looking for an excuse. They're waiting on you to have one mess up or even the appearance of a mess up so they can bring you down. Maybe that's what it feels like sometimes in a relationship that you're in. That's not a healthy relationship. I just want to throw that out there. If you're in that kind of relationship, seek help immediately. Okay? Seek, and we have that. We have a lot of help that we can offer, but seek help immediately. You want to be in a relationship and you want to be in a place where you are celebrated, not tolerated. Because if you're just tolerated at the moment that they don't want to tolerate you anymore, they're going to pick you apart and find something wrong with you, and then they're just going to do is highlight your problems instead of your strengths. Are you listening now? So I started this year off with a word I believe is a very prophetic word from God that 2020, we are going to be stronger and stronger. And then all of a sudden, chaos breaks out everywhere. And you look around and you think, was that really the right word? And I still say yes, absolutely yes. Because why do you need to be strong? You need to be stronger and stronger because of what is coming. You don't need to be strong in good times. Good times, you just get to flow free. You get to be like the butterfly just floating around, right? You're riding a unicorn with a net catching all those butterflies. Maybe that's not you, right? That's just me and my dreams. No, I'm just teasing. It's not me and my dreams, okay? You need to be strong in tough times. Really, we want to be strong in all times. But you need to probably be stronger and stronger in tough times. And we are facing some tough times. These men were facing some tough times. They worship the one and only true God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And now they're being told that they will worship false gods and they will bow down to a golden statue made in the image of a man, and they're refusing to. And now these astrologers are stirring the pot. And so then King Nebuchadnezzar, he flew into a rage and ordered that Shadarach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought before him. And when they were brought before him, the king said to them, "Is it true? You refuse to serve my gods or worship to the gold statue I have set up?" Now I need to set the scene as well. Because King Nebuchadnezzar is not sitting like you may think right now in a palace. He's already outside of this massive furnace that he had built as a way to punish people and put them to their death. And this furnace, it would be heated up to right around 300 degrees Fahrenheit so that they would burn, but they would burn kind of slowly. And now they're standing, they see the furnace, they see all of his men, they see the little narcs, the moles that are telling on them. They see everybody, and they're starting to see a very clear picture. Uh-oh, we's in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, we found ourselves in a bit of a pickle here. We're in a moment where we have to decide. What are we going to do? What are we going to say? Because if we stand strong with our belief and our faith, we know that that is our certain death. But if we bow to a man and to false gods, then we're not just going to face a fire that is temporary. We're going to face an eternal fire. Are you listening now? And so, look at this happens. Verse 15, he says, "I will give you one more chance to bow down and worship the statue I have made when you hear the sound of the musical instruments. But if you refuse, you will be thrown immediately into that blazing furnace. And then what God will be able to rescue you from my power?" What God is possibly capable? Because you know what he's saying? The gods I worship aren't capable of doing it. I know my golden statue can't reach in that fire and get you out. And he just wants them to bow down. And look what happens. Verse 16, they replied, "Oh, Nebuchadnezzar." I just think it's like, "Oh, Nebuchadnezzar." Like, what? We don't need to defend ourselves before you. We don't need to do that. If we are thrown into that blazing furnace, the God whom we serve, he is able to save us. Are you listening to this now? This is so good. They're not telling him, "I guarantee you God's going to save me from this." They're just telling him, "You don't have a God that is able, but we serve a God who is able to save us from this." And the king, it says, he flew into a rage, so much that his face became distorted with anger. I just tried to picture that. I was looking like in the mirror trying to get what that would look like to be so angry that your face becomes distorted. And I don't have it, and I was going to throw a GIF up, and I thought it might be a little bit inappropriate. But I thought about this commercial back in the day called the bitter beer face. Some guy had tasted some, you know what I'm talking about? And his face just gets sucked in, puckered up. He looks super angry and super distraught. So that's kind of like the bitter beer face. I think King Nebuchadnezzar had the bitter beer face. Is that okay just to say it like that? It's better to say it than to show the GIF. It's not like super inappropriate, but it's just not the most appropriate. Okay, so he gets just like fiery red, face distorted. He is so angry, he will punish them, and so he commands his men to heat that furnace up over 7 times hotter than it normally is. History tells us that the furnace was heated to over 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you imagine? 2,300 degrees. And then he orders the strongest men in his army to bind these men up. Then, just a little side note makes me wonder, what did Shadarach, Meshach, and Abednego look like to have the strongest men to come after them? You know what I'm saying? Like, there was already a little bit of fear in this king's heart. He already wasn't 100% sure. He was just acting out of rage. And the men, they grab him fully dressed, and they throw them into this furnace that's heated 7 times over to over 2,300 degrees. The Bible says that the furnace was so hot that as soon as the men tried to throw them in, those men literally got burned to death. They literally died instantaneously from the heat that was coming out of that furnace. That's pretty hot, don't you think? I just remember one time when this happened here in Texas. I just want to put a disclaimer. You know, I used to be a Yankee. And God sent me to this beautiful promised land called Texas, and so I want to learn how to barbecue like the Texans do. You know what I'm saying? Like, Yankees, we barbecue with a gas grill. You know, it's real quick, real easy, just simple. We have winters up there with snow. I ain't trying to sit out there and stoke a fire. I just want to go out there and turn a knob, you know? And so down here, the first thing I bought me was a big old charcoal gas grill I could use as a smoker. And I'm just out there playing around one day. And y'all are going to laugh at me, especially that know better than what I'm about to tell you. But I just want to put a disclaimer. The book of Proverbs says that a wise person learns from other people's mistakes. A fool learns from their own. And so please just learn from my mistakes, okay? If you've already done it, don't make too much fun of me. But I got this charcoal thing going, and then all of a sudden I come back out and I check on it, and the fire's out. But it's not white yet. You know, it's just a little bit white here and there, but the charcoal's still pretty black. And I'm just like, man, I don't know how that's even possible. I put a ton of liquid on that stuff. You know, the what do you call that stuff? You know, I'm talking about lighter fluid. That's what it's called. See what I'm saying? You know, knob, button, lighter fluid, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I just decide, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put some more lighter fluid on this thing. See? I knew it already. I just knew that was coming. I had it in me that there was a, oh. So y'all know where this is going, right? I put some lighter fluid on this smoldering fire. And I put a lot on there. Whole lot. Just thought, this time, this sucker ain't going out. I promise you this. This will reach the heavens by the time I'm done with it. And I'm just squirting this bottle. Then I'm like, now a little bit more. All right, one more. And then I just grab a match. Throw it on there. And literally, I'm telling you, my eyebrows were gone. The whole front of my hair was like a firebomb. It literally blew up on me. Like I had white soot all over my face, in my eyes. I didn't know if I had gone home to Jesus. I didn't know what was going on. I just all of a sudden, oh, Lord Jesus. Oh, my goodness. And I'm just literally, I can't see. My eyelashes were curled up. And I realized real quick, I need some help. So I went out and bought a gas grill. All right? I bought one of those dualies, though. Come on, give me a little break. It's like half charcoal on this side, half gas on that side. So if that ain't working, I ain't messing with it no more. I'm just going to turn the gas grill on, just go straight to it. So I can imagine just that little tiny fire, what this was like when they're getting thrown into the fire and all of a sudden, poof, they're just gone. These strong men that threw them in the fire are gone. Some interesting stuff. This is what I want to show you. Number one, in how to stand strong is you must keep God as your defender. Are you listening now? Shadarach and Meshach and Abednego did not rely on their own strength. They did not rely on false gods, and they surely were not going to bow down to a golden statue made in the image of man. What they said to him is, oh, Nebuchadnezzar, come on, bro. You ain't got your stuff together yet. You think we're going to fall for that? No way. That temporary fire you're setting, our God is able to rescue us from that. And they were having a mindset that you're not our defender, king. Are you listening now? The government is not our defender. Are you hearing me? God is our defender. God and God alone is the defender of our life. Now, he may use other people to help him along the way, but he is the one that is always going to show up in our time of need. Look at Psalm 121, verses 1 through 2. I look up to the mountains, and where does my help come from? And then he says, you know what that means? He's looking up to the mountains to see, is there an army coming over the hill that's about to rescue me in the midst of this battle? No, there's no army of men coming. Let me tell you where my help comes from. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. And that's the kind of mentality that Shadarach, Meshach, and Abednego had. They had that kind of mentality, that God is my defender, and he is able to rescue me from this season, to rescue me from this moment. So King Nebuchadnezzar, he throws him into the fiery furnace. He sees his men just get evaporated from the heat of the flames. And then all of a sudden, something crazy takes place. Look at this. No, I'm just going to go right to number 2. Sorry. Number 2 is have unwavering faith. I'm getting ahead of myself. Have unwavering faith. Look what he says. This is what I want to show you. This is so big because this to me is the epitome. Like I just taught a few weeks ago on the 7 levels of faith. I think maybe I should have threw 8 in there. Because the unwavering faith, having an unwavering faith, a truly balanced faith. At first, it's hard to even put a name on this faith. That's probably why I didn't include it. It's hard to put a name on it because it blows your mind. It's very deep, but it's complicated, yet it's unwavering. It's intriguing. But look what they say to him. They say, he will rescue us from your power. Say he will. He will do it. I promise you he will. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But verse 18, look at this. This is where the balance comes in. Look what they said. But what? Even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up. You know what they're saying to him? They're saying that we believe he will rescue us from your power. We believe that. We believe that without a doubt. But even if he doesn't, there's always the chance that this just may be the way God intended for us to go out for some other way. Maybe this is just part of what's going to go. Jesus gave his life as a ransom. Some were probably hoping, like his mother and his disciples, that God's going to rescue him from that cross, but that wasn't the way God planned it. So they're being open to understand. He's able and he will, but even if he doesn't. And that's where I just want to really hone in with you just for a moment. And I want you just to think about the most challenging things you have faced in your life. Some of the things that you just feel like you don't understand. There's so many things that happen in this life. I just stopped trying to figure it all out. I'm just going to I didn't give up. I just gave in. I gave in to God. God, you're a big, big God. And you're a good, good God. And I don't understand why all these things take place. I can tell you when we were facing trial after trial in our family, when my daughter was facing trial after trial in her pregnancies, this is the kind of faith that we stood strong on. We believe he will rescue us from the power of the enemy, but even if he doesn't, he is still God. Are you listening now? That's the kind of unwavering faith approach we should have to everything. That we believe by faith that God is going to come through. We believe by faith that God is going to rescue us. We believe by faith that God is going to break us through. But even if he doesn't, he is still God. And when you show people that kind of faith, that's what changes their life. That's what changes their perspective. So he gets so angry, he throws it. It is right after this, actually, that he got so angry that his face became distorted. And he throws them into this fire. And then look what happens. And because the king in his anger had demanded such a fire in the furnace, the flames killed the soldiers as they threw the 3 men in. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, securely tied, fell into the roaring flames. But suddenly, somebody say suddenly. You better get ready for the suddenly. I'm just telling you right now, I felt it in my spirit this morning that God is about to show up in your life with a suddenly kind of a moment where you have felt like you have held on as long as you can hold on, that you are exhausted and you are tired and you are frustrated and you are hurting. But God, if you will put your faith in God in that kind of a way, that God, I believe you will rescue me for this. But even if you don't, you are still God. Then all of a sudden you set yourself up for the suddenly. But suddenly Nebuchadnezzar jumped up in amazement and he exclaimed to his advisors, hey, didn't we tie up 3 men and throw them into the furnace? Yes, your majesty, we certainly did, they replied. And then look what he says. Verse 25, but look, Nebuchadnezzar shouted, I see 4 men, unbound, walking in the fire, unharmed. And the 4th, he looks like a god. The principle I want you to see is you're never alone. You're not alone now, and you never will be alone as long as you have Jesus. You will never be alone. I'm going somewhere with this just a moment, but I just need to get this out just for the teaching principle of it. You are not alone. If you really want to stand stronger and stronger, it's much better to stand back to back with somebody else. That's why Jesus said in Matthew chapter 18, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in one place, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in one place, I am already there in the midst of them. Look, Nebuchadnezzar shouted, I see 4. We threw 3 in, but I see 4 men unbound, walking around in the fire, unharmed, and the 4th, he looks like a god. Are y'all listening now? Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in one place, I am there in the midst of them. And whatsoever they will ask of my Father in my name, it shall be given to them. And whatever they bind on earth will be bound in heaven. And whatever they loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. You know what Jesus is telling us? We are better together. That we are better together. That we are stronger together. That if you and I will stand back to back, especially, and what is it about a 3-corded strand, right? It's not easily broken. If 3 of us will stand back, if you want to put together a Marine Corps or Army fire team and put 4 guys, do you follow what I'm telling you? The more that we are together, the stronger we are. And the reason behind that is twofold. The first is, yes, it's called the power of agreement, synergy, whatever word you want to slap on it. 1 horse could pull 1,000. Another horse could pull 1,000, but you yoke those 2 horses together, all of a sudden, instead of pulling 2,000 like mathematics say they should, they could pull 3, 4, 5, sometimes as much as 9,000 pounds, depending on the synergy between them. So there's that part. But then the other part is that Jesus has given us a promise. If we will gather together, are you listening now? If we will gather together, then he will already be there in the midst of us. I believe that if 1 or 2 of those guys would have had a lack in faith or would have wavered or not wanted to be able, if they would have bowed down, then the other one would have probably certainly faced his death in this fire. But because all 3 stood strong with God, all 3 stood strong in their faith, Jesus showed up in the midst of them. And you know, that also speaks to me. Another 2 things. One is that, yes, you are not alone, but hear this and hear this clearly. The Bible tells us that when we say yes to Jesus, when we believe that he is our Savior, he is the Son of God, that he has come to ransom our lives from this death trap called earth and the future of hell itself, when we believe that God no longer sees you. When he looks at you, he doesn't see you. He doesn't see your flaws. He doesn't see your mistakes. He doesn't see your past. You know what he sees? He sees Jesus covering you. That's the first thing he sees is Jesus. You know what it also tells me? Nebuchadnezzar now became the enemy of these men. And when he threw 3 in, Nebuchadnezzar no longer could see 3, he saw 4. So here's what I want to tell you. The devil, when you say yes to Jesus, the devil can no longer see you standing there alone. The devil can no longer see the weaknesses he's going to use. The devil can no longer see the hurts that he was able to bring upon your life. The devil can no longer use your past against you, because when he looks at you, he all of a sudden doesn't see you, he sees 2. He sees somebody standing beside you, and his name is Jesus. And he knows he doesn't just look like a God, he is a God. Are y'all listening now? Don't be alone. It is the way the enemy loves to hunt you. The Bible teaches us that he hunts us like a lion hunts its prey, that he comes in by stealth. He waits for you to be isolated and set apart from everyone else, and then he moves in for the kill. Don't be alone. We are better together. We are stronger together. And when we gather together, Jesus is in our midst. Let's just move on quickly. I got about 2 minutes to finish up. Then the high officers, officials, governors, and advisors crowded around them. They pulled him out. King Nebuchadnezzar was like, it says he walked as close as he could to the fire. He wasn't going to get too close, but he got close enough to shout into it, "Hey, Shadarach, Meshach, and Abednego, come out of there. Come here." And when they came out, look what it says. They saw that the fire had not touched them. Not a hair on their heads was singed, and their clothing was not scorched, and they did not even smell of smoke. You don't even got to smell like the world. You don't even got to smell like the enemy. You don't even got to smell like your past. Jesus says he washes you as white as snow. He takes it all the way. He forgives and forgets everything you've ever done and gives you a fresh start and a new beginning. That's what this is talking about, is getting that old smell off of you. When you were Jesus, your stuff don't stink. I almost said that a different way on accident. That would have been terrible. Let me wrap up now before I get myself in trouble. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise the God." Look how the enemy's heart was turned. When you have unwavering faith, when you know that you are not alone, when you know in your heart that God is God and he is your defender, when you keep those principles alive in your heart, you will not just win favor with God, but you will start to turn the hearts of the men and the women around you. You will turn the hearts of your family. You will turn the hearts of your co-workers. You will turn the hearts. You'll begin to turn the hearts of a city. You'll begin to turn the hearts of a state, of a nation, and then the world. Because look what Nebuchadnezzar says, "Praise the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel," that's Jesus, "to rescue his servants who trusted in him." Do you trust him? Do you trust in him? Look at this now. They trusted in him. They defied, he says, the king's commands and were willing to die rather than to serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I make this decree. If any people, whatever their race or nation or language, speak a single word against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they will be torn limb from limb, and their houses will be turned into heaps of rubble. Now, all of a sudden, the king of the nation, the greatest, most powerful nation on the planet, became an ally to the believers in the one and true God. And he said this, "There is no other God who can rescue like this." There is no other God. You want to turn the hearts of kings? You want to turn the hearts of presidents, of governors, of mayors? If we want to make a difference in our nation, if we want to make a difference in our state, then we got to make a difference in our city. If we're going to make a difference in our city, we better start with our neighborhoods. If we want to hit our neighborhoods, we better start looking into our own families, and we better really, really get the understanding that if we're going to stand strong, then we've got to know that God is for us. He is our defender. He's not against us. And then we've got to dig deep and get that unwavering faith. And then we've got to partner up and know that we are not alone and we don't have to do this alone. And then look what this says. Then the king promoted. I love this. They defied him. They disobeyed him. And they got promoted for it. You might not want to try that at Dell or Apple or wherever. You might just want to walk in and defy. Now, if they ask you to do something against God, then yes, defy them, but don't try that at home unless God leads you to do it. But they defied him. They rebelled against the authority, and they got promoted for it to even higher positions in the province of Babylon than they once had. So I just want to speak it over you, every single one of you, church at home, those that are here today. God wants to use your life to make a difference. It is the fourth pillar of our 4-vision statement. God wants to use your life to make a difference in the lives of others. And all he is asking you to do is really look to him to be your defender. Don't take vengeance into your own hands, but look to him to be your defender, right? Look to him to be the one that's going to rescue you. Count on him to get you out of the mess that you're in. And then have that unwavering faith that even if he doesn't, he's still God. And then with that said, yoke up with someone. Get in a small group. Get connected to some other men or some other women or some other young people in this church. Get connected with somebody who's a like-minded believer. Get connected with somebody that can help you be better than where you are today. Are you listening now? And when you start to get together like that, all of a sudden, you're stronger and stronger, and you're promoted even to higher positions, not just in your workplace, but in your family. You're respected more, you're honored more, you're loved more, in your neighborhood, you're looked to more. The people are looking for answers, and they're looking for you because they know you become a beacon of light for God. Are you listening to what I'm telling you now? God wants to use you in amazing ways. And this year, I'm going to repeat it again halfway through it, is the year that God is making us stronger and stronger. Do you believe that? Can we give Jesus one big thank you for his word? I'm going to ask just for a moment if we can bow our head, close our eyes. I want to extend an opportunity here today to each and every one of us, those that are on church at home, those that are in the room right now. This is an opportunity to link up, to connect, not just to people. That's awesome. But truly, to the one and only God who has made the heavens and the earth, and he has created you. You're not here by accident. You're not a coincidence. You're not just a happenstance. You are a divine creation, created with an amazing purpose and on purpose. You're not here for any other reason except that God wanted you to be here. No matter what you've heard, I don't know if you're like me and you didn't grow up in church and you didn't have a church background, you didn't know what to believe, or maybe you've just been hurt and burned out by church, or religion has turned you off from God. That's never a good thing, but it's never the heart of God. God did not come to establish any of that stuff. God came with Jesus to establish a relationship with him. A relationship like Noah had, where it's intimate, where you truly know God, not just know of him, but you know him. You know his character. You know his nature. You know his love. And the only way that's possible is by saying yes to Jesus. Shadarach, Meshach, and Abednego experienced one of the greatest miracles we've ever seen. But it wasn't because they were special. They were no more special than you or I. It's just because they stood strong. They stood strong in the face of adversity, and they would not bow and they would not back down. There's a lot of things happening today that are asking us to bow our knee to something, or to bow our will to something, and that goes across the board, across so many different avenues. And what we want to say is that we bow to God and God alone. And I just want to give you that opportunity to bow your heart today before the God of God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. If you're here right now and you don't know that Jesus is the Lord of your life, if you've never just said yes to Jesus, then take that bold step of faith today. It is a step of faith. It requires faith to do it. You may not understand it all, you may not see it all, but that's the beauty of it, is you're trusting. You're letting go of control. And you're saying, God, you're bigger than I am, and I want to be better than I am today. So if that's you and you want to say yes, or maybe you've said this before, but you've really never lived a life to match up to what that commitment was, or maybe it's just COVID or whatever it is going on in the world that just is taking you out of the picture, then just press into the picture. Just jump back in. God is not angry at you. He is not disappointed with you. If you have walked away from him, he's heartbroken for you. He misses you. He wants you home. Come home today. If you want to say yes or recommit that yes, on three, I want you to just be bold and put your hand up nice and high in the air. Without fear, without worry, without delay. On three, put it up. 1, 2, 3. Come on, shoot that hand up nice and high. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for those hands. Thank you. For each and every one of you that raised that hand, and all those at home that did it, just lay your hand on your heart. That's where Jesus is about to enter. He said, I stand at the door of your heart, and I knock, and if you'll just open, I'll come into you. I'll live in you. So let's pray this together. I want you to pray it where your own 2 ears can hear, but I'm going to ask everybody, let's join in, and let's back them up and let them know they're not alone. Let's say it. Say, Jesus, I believe in you. You are the Son of God. You gave your life for me. Now I give my life to you. Forgive me for every sin, every mistake I've ever made. Give me a fresh start, a new beginning. From this day forward, I dedicate my life to you. Help me. Send to me your Holy Spirit to dwell in me, to lead me, to guide me. In Jesus' name, amen.